Please be seated. Christmas is our yearly reminder that the light still shines and the darkness does not overcome it. And that is certainly a message that I need to hear every winter when the darkness descends, in the dark uncertainty of our world. And hearing it again that light, the true light, the light which enlightens everyone, is coming into the world and is in the world, that is good news, isn't it? We can probably all use the frequent reminder that the light shines in the darkness and the darkness does not overcome it. You know, while I love the image of the light shining in the dark, I often find myself made uncomfortable by the metaphor of overcoming, though. It bothers me, I think, because I think it's actually a dangerous metaphor. Because to overcome something means to defeat it, to conquer it, to trounce or trash or rout or vanquish it. I mean, it's certainly a relief to know that the darkness does not and cannot ultimately defeat or overwhelm or triumph over the light, but I still think it's dangerous because it frames that whole relationship as adversarial. It makes it seem like the whole point is for one side to defeat the other or dominate the other. It seems to separate the world into winners and losers, each side barricading themselves behind walled compounds, fed on filter-bubbled animosity and pitted against each other. And that is certainly not good news, is it? It's certainly not the gospel, and it's not actually the way light works either. Overcoming is not what the light is about. Victory is not the same thing as reconciliation or salvation or liberation, which is the purpose of Christ coming among us, of God being with us, of God living and dying as one of us to reconcile us and all of creation to God. The darkness might seek power as a means of attaining victory at any cost, but the light shines not to defeat, but to illuminate, not to trounce, but to transform. And so I think a better and still completely legitimate translation of that Greek there is actually comprehend. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not comprehend it, cannot understand it. The darkness just doesn't get it. The darkness neither recognizes nor understands that what the light offers is salvation, is liberation, is reconciliation. We can often feel how the metaphor of overcoming works in us, though, when fear begins to tingle the back of our neck, when uncertainty and worry constrain our liveliness and our animosity towards others grows and the desire to win at any cost becomes paramount, then we can feel the darkness growing. And when we see some horror taking place and feel the sick bile of helpless rage well up and wonder, how could anyone allow this? Why isn't anyone stopping this? When all of that happens, it's pretty easy to wish for some bright ball of fiery light to blaze in and not simply dispel, but utterly destroy this present darkness. But again, that's not how light works. And that's not what our scriptures tell us. When we want God to come in power and great glory, God arrives as a helpless human infant. When we demand a king who will utterly destroy all the evil empires of the world, we get a similar helpless creature, but now a naked, vulnerable man nailed to a cross. When we appeal for assurances of the time and the place when Jesus will return and everything will be put right, we are told instead to tend the sick, to free the oppressed, to live in solidarity with the poor and the marginalized, to be vulnerable, to take up our crosses, give up our privilege. Because the light's purpose is not to annihilate or eliminate or extinguish. The light's purpose is simply to shine, to illuminate, to enlighten. So Christmas is our annual celebration of the light that continually comes into the world, that irrepressible light that comes into the world and is somehow transformed into human flesh. And yes, it is sometimes difficult to see in our world today, but it is still here. It's here in us. Remember, Jesus reminds us elsewhere that you are the light of the world. Isn't that remarkable? The light, the true light which has come into the world, says that we are the light of the world, and that we are to spread that light among others. The light that shines in the darkness, that has shone from the beginning, the light that shines from a stable in Bethlehem, that shines from a star in the sky, that light is in you. And that light is made brighter by coming together in community. That light is made more penetrating by reaching out to those in need. That light is made more luminous by standing up for justice. It's made more radiant by speaking out against systemic evils of greed and racism and sexism and so many others. It grows and it glows more brightly through our daily actions of prayer and sacrifice and commitment and compassion. Beloved, in this Christmas season and all throughout the year, I pray that you tend that light that is within you, that you will seek out that light in others, that we will all magnify the light and gain strength and sustenance through this community. Let the light, the true light that proclaims release to the captives and good news to the poor and recovery of sight to the blind, let that light so shine that all may see it and be drawn to it. Amen.